say 3:35. So I felt like I got here pretty early. And first thing I did after I got on the platform, got safetied off, was I pulled my bow up. And I got a little dead stop sticking out right here. And I hung my bow up on it. And I rolled up my pull-up cord. And I went to take my pack off. I unbuckled it. And when I went to pull it off of the straps off of my shoulders, it kind of made a good bit of racket. And it usually does. Well, there was a deer, a spike buck, was underneath me. And when I say underneath me, he was at like 3 yards. I never heard him come up. I don't know how he didn't see me pull my bow up. But anyway, he spooked back behind me, and wasn't nothing I could do. So I'm standing here with my spurs on this metal platform. I just kind of slid the straps, my pack straps, back on my shoulder, and eased around and started getting my bow. And about that time, out towards the creek, a bunch of turkeys went to raising game, and he had all of his attention focused on them. And I was able to get my bow. I had my tab in my pocket, my cargo pocket. I got it out, got it on, put a hair on the string, and I knew that if I got a shot, he was going to come back to my right, which is the side he spooked from. And sure enough, he settled down and kind of came back. I believe he would have came to the tree had I not kept making little noises and stuff. But the sun was directly at my back, so I don't think there was any way he could see me. You know, unless I cast a shadow on his face when I was moving. But you see this limb, and I'm sitting down. So you can imagine how bad that was in the way. Hear them turkeys back there yelping right now. Anyway, I had to turn that way, which kind of short roped me with my tether. And had them gaffs on. But I was able to manipulate my feet and get turned. And a couple times he heard a little bit of that racket I made. I bumped this limb a time or two, trying to get my bow situated around it. So instead of coming in, he kind of angled off right here up this slough. I kind of had to squat down and shoot him with an almost purely horizontal bow. And I don't know, I shot him at about 15 yards, I'm guessing. Something like that. Don't know how I was able to get the shot off without having contact with my bow limb or something. It was extremely awkward. I never planned on shooting over here all my shots. The only shots I really set up for were under this persimmon. And anyway, I hit him. Looked like I hit him low, and probably the width of your hand behind the front leg. I'm thinking he was quartering away slightly. It happened so fast. I think he was, but I'm not positive. And I did not shoot through him, which kind of makes me think that I was really low, and I might have stuck it in his brisket. But he ran off really hard with the air in him, and I saw him run for about 50 yards maybe before I lost sight of him. And right after I lost sight of him, it kind of got quiet, and then I heard something like that, just a couple of, it wasn't a sucking chest wound, but it was something similar to that. So I've got a really good compass bearing on where he was at last time I heard him. So I'll get down at dark and we'll go over there and see what we got. I feel like I'll get him. I've hit a deer lower than that before, but it was at a longer distance. And so it wasn't angled down quite as much. I mean, it actually entered on the white hairline. It just runs along their belly. And it pretty much came out in the same place. That deer didn't run but about 60 yards and was graveyard dead. I heard him crash. And I think we get this one. But this tree is showing some good sign. It's still loaded down with persimmons. I haven't hunted here. I think the last time I came here was like 10 days ago. So it should be like a brand new spot, never been hunted. But I just thought that was pretty wild. I don't know how I was able to get up the tree and pull my bow up and all that mess. And that deer get inside of 3 yards. You know you're not really paying attention. I mean, you're listening a little bit, but you're making a lot of your own racket, so. When he spooked, he was in sand, standing in sand, so I don't know that he might have approached coming down this slough over here to my left, which is kind of strange because that's the way I came in. No telling. Strange things happen. Hopefully we won't have no trouble finding him though. Alright, I'm gonna have to make this kind of quick. This deer's been dead for like 4.5 hours. And when I shot him, I just got on the stand, hadn't took my gaffs off, hadn't took my pack off. Was in the process of taking my pack off and it made a little bit of noise. And this deer was under me at like 3 yards. I didn't even know he was there. He spooked back and ended up giving me a shot at, I'm gonna say about 14 or 15 yards. And it was awful. I didn't have a shot to that side, limbs in the way. I left up for cover. And I had to take my old Centaur and I had to squat down and shoot with the bow turned horizontal like that to make the shot. And at the time, it looked to me like I hit him really low and far back. But he was quartering away. Arrow went in probably about right here on the other side, and you can see where it came out right there. Just absolutely drilled him and cut the back of the offside leg like I'm known to do. And I don't think he probably didn't run about 60 yards, maybe 70. And I didn't hear him fall, but I did hear sound like a couple of coughs. It didn't sound like a sucking chest wound, but it did sound funny. And this where he was at when he did that. But we'll get him clean, get him in the sack, and get him on out of here. I'm tickled to death with this one.